Welcome backstage to Theater of the Mindset. I'm your kind and generous DM, Justin Gerardot, and this week I'm backstage right behind the curtain, kind of looking for the part because I want to peek and see if my crush is still here. Also with me is Nick Traeger. Nick, where are you?
I am currently stuck underneath where the pit normally is, but there's not a pit. There's no musicians here, but they actually closed it off and locked all the doors, and I'm actively stuck underneath where the musicians should be.
No, that's concerning. Also with me is Steve Edinger. Steve, where are you?
I'm actually out in the audience right now, just saying hello to all my well-wishers.
Oh, good. I see you. I found the part. I found the part of the curtain. I see you. That's so cool. And last but not least is Shelby Myers. Shelby, where are you?
I'm backstage in the green room, and I'm hanging out with the actresses who play Tallulah and Beanie, and we're playing Uno.
Honestly, they're the best of us. Truly, they're the best of us. Awesome. Well, we just finished Arc 2 of Faith and Fortune. What an exciting arc. Honestly, I have so many thoughts and feelings about how this arc went down, not the least of which is kind of where it ended. Not to kind of show all of the cards here, but I had no plans or written out expectations for the entire warehouse scene. Everything from the moment the card slipped out of the accoster's pocket that were chasing Lucan to the moment that the warehouse happened was all improvised. I had no expectations. That was all kind of like how the fear in Daggerheart, how that system kind of unfolds. All of that was improvised. And I thought it felt extremely good. It felt very exciting. I don't know. How did that feel as players listening back to it and kind of experiencing it? For you all, what was that like?
I think that was my favorite thing we recorded, maybe in the entire series, mostly because you probably can't tell this, obviously, like listening to it. But we accidentally, I think Steve and I had to pee, and so we left the room during Sarah's turn, during Shelby's turn. And then we just said, oh, let's run with that. And so we are all separated as characters. Let's not be in the room when it's not us on screen. And so Harry, me, had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, the first time I heard what Shelby and Steve did was when I was editing this episode. Had never heard what happened while I was out of the office.
Same. I'm super shocked to find out that was all improvised, because I was like, as I was listening to it, I was like, wow, Justin really planned this all out, man. It's very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, the parts where I was in the room, not alone, but just with Justin recording, were interesting from like the performance perspective, because even when the four of us are all sitting in there, I am still taking cues from all of you, just like body language in the room, even if you're not in the scene, and just kind of being on your own. Like, it's an entirely different experience, and it really kind of forced you to be like, well, I don't know, here's what my character is doing. There's no feedback coming. We're just going with this, and that was really fun.
Could absolutely be fucking someone else's shit up currently.
And did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there were things, if I can give myself like a little bit of a thorn, I think I kind of gave you guys answers that I think, because you're right, we had no plan for this, and so keeping people out of the room was not the original intention. But once we kind of picked up on how that was making it exciting even for us as the players, as that kind of came to fruition, I realized that I was kind of giving you all answers that I shouldn't have been doing. That's like funny. When the horns blast, I was like, oh yeah, you know that those are people retreating. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have told them that. I should have been like, if you want to find out what that is, that can be your action, and really just given you nothing.
Yeah.
And really kind of left you even more in the dark would have been my, if I had a full plan for this, what I would have done. But I think it went over really, really well, and the excitement of that scene felt really top notch.
And I think that it worked out with the pacing too. I think that played into it. It moves. So yeah, I loved it.
Isarn really comes in as the bad guy of this arc in a really kind of satisfying way. I think Nick, you highlight it really well in kind of a speech you give as Harry when you were like, Harry is a politician, but when you are using your own people as a pawn, as a sacrifice to kind of get your own wins, that really kind of grinds Harry's gears. Kind of tell me a little bit kind of from your character's perspective and as your perspective as a person, kind of how that informed your view of Isarn.
That's like Harry's turn from guy trying to be a politician in the Senate and maybe just trying to get Senate power to Harry is now going to stop Isarn Halavar and the Custodia Sanguis. I think like as player and like as Harry, like that was the point where I had a hook into stopping these people. I think that was the moment like where he like mildly threatens Beanie, and then Harry finds out that he's fucking creating martyrs of his own followers. Like that was 100% the point where Harry's like, oh, this is no longer about like, is Asher the king or not? This is like, fuck these people. Absolutely fuck these people. There's nothing more opposite of Harry's ethos than this. Like you take power to take care of people, not to just get more power. And that truly was the moment where I think me and Harry were like, okay, cool. I now have a reason to just go as absolutely hard as possible against this like cult.
Yeah, it was a really, I think I kind of set up in my mind Isarn as like a foil. Obviously he's associated with the Church of Baz, kind of as a foil to Lucan, but I think in this arc he really kind of just proved to be a foil, like a bad guy for everyone. Yeah. And I think that felt very satisfying for me as
the bad guy.
Yeah, which was very satisfying.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to move into a human villain. I think the first arc, obviously we were learning a lot as characters. The Charnwick experience was a lot of us kind of being challenged as to our place in the world and having some of the like initial expectations of our characters be upended a little bit. But the monster, by and large was truly, a sentient isn't the right word, but was truly a like monster we had to defeat. Yeah. Isarn is a guy with his own goals and his own ambitions, and is really capable of doing stuff in the background that we have no input on. And I think that makes every confrontation with him, whether smaller or large, have some weight to it in a way that again was really, really fun to play.
We're also starting to see a little bit more of kind of Sarah peel herself away from the other two a little bit in arc 2. Absolutely. And get a little bit more, and we see this, I'll come back to this a little bit on Lucan peeling away as well, but Sarah kind of peels away from the group a little bit more frequently and has a little bit of different views on some things and challenges her compatriots in some of these moments. What was kind of that like for you, Shelby?
I think it's, in hindsight, really satisfying. I was worried that the like seeds and that I was planting and the directions that I was going, I was worried that it was going to feel a lot more aimless than it is. And part of that is just the editing that Nick is doing, which is amazing. But I think particularly when Sarah has that vision from Amunet, that she's kind of walking the line, and on one side Venethar is just like destroyed, on the other side it's whole. And I, without spoiling anything, I'm like seeing how things are coming together, and I'm like, oh, this is very satisfying. And I think, her whole thing is who do I trust, and desperately wanting someone to trust, which is why she's so messy in this arc. And she's just like, as soon as she feels like she has people that she can trust, she's like, okay, here's my secrets.
Yeah.
But it's really satisfying because now she's torn between these two different worlds, and what do I reveal to each side, and what do I keep secret, and all that kind of stuff. It was a really stressful game to play too. Just like, and I'm not a good liar. So like there are times that I'm listening to the recording that I'm hearing Shelby being like, oh fuck shit, what do I say?
Very funny.
I really wanted to directly put you and Steve against one another
Mhm.
when I had set Lucan up to save the people in Warren, while setting Sarah up to kind of subvert that and kind of take over all of the resources that Lucan had sent to Warren and steal those away. But you two were just like, oh no, we can work this out. And like there's like this old like team building activity where you like kind of put people together and you find out that one group needs like the juice of the orange, the other group needs like the rind of the orange, but everyone just kind of says that they want the orange. And I'm like, a lot of that is the dice, right? So I genuinely don't want I don't want to create a conflict and kind of go against the dice. And you both rolled dice in that moment that found kind of that solution and led you to that area. So I didn't want to fabricate a conflict beyond more than I'd already done. And so you found that solution kind of, I think, Steve, you had rolled as Lucan and identified that you might have additional resources that Sarah can access and utilize those to kind of get both sides to get what they need in that moment. So it all worked out, but I had kind of deliberately tried to get you guys to kind of fight and ultimately kind of subvert each other's needs, but it all worked out in the end, I guess. But I tried my hardest.
It all did work out, but not without a cost. Mechanically, I was feeding you fear because I was doing die rolls to try and make this all work, but I think there was certainly friction between Sarah and Lucan in that scene of, Lucan is being put in a spot where he knows what like the morally right thing to do is and doesn't want to disappoint his friend. But in order to make all of it come together and make all of that conflict work for everybody, he has to go against, essentially his own job and kind of sneak in and tell some half-truths, like do some things that are uncomfortable for him as well, just to make all of that, go in a way that's successful.
I also texted Justin when I was editing that scene afterwards, and I was like, this bitch. Sarah like manipulates the shit out of Lucan.
100%.
In that scene. I think I texted Justin like, this bitch. It's so like it is in such a good, like it could have been set up for a conflict, like an actual we are not going to see eye to eye, so we go separate ways. And that didn't land, or that didn't come to fruition. But what did come to fruition was this Sarah desperately needing this thing to happen and wanting to make sure that Lucan doesn't fuck it up. There is still I think that's the scene where Sarah pushes Lucan into being like, let's be honest about Asher and what the fuck's going on here.
Right. Yeah.
A lot came of that scene, even though it wasn't maybe what was planned, which is awesome.
And it also set up later that we were able to safely remove the faith from Warren, and then finding out later that they still lost it. That was a nice connection that we were able to make later anyways.
Totally. Yeah. Going back to what I had mentioned earlier, we see a couple of times in this arc, and you can already tell in comparison to the first arc that we're all feeling a little bit more comfortable in the Daggerheart system as Lucan is feeling a bit more about a crisis of faith or a little bit lack of stability in his faith as I start to take away some of his prayer dice and start to inflict a little bit of those wounds as every once in a while, every time you express doubt in Baaz or what Baaz represents, I play a little bit with those strings and those prayer dice that you have at your disposal. Kind of how does that feel? Did that reflect kind of what you were going for in Lucan, and kind of where's Lucan stand kind of at this place in the story?
Absolutely. I really, really wanted to lean into the character arc for Lucan having mechanical consequences, and I think that the losing the prayer dice, and we had the wings starting to lose some of that kind of stuff happening. really makes it impossible for me as a character and like acting it out to ignore that is what my character is going through, and makes it hard to, you know, just ignore that development from scene to scene. You know, it makes it a crisis that he's actually going through. And as this arc goes, Lucan is just growing more and more unsure of where he stands in, you know, in an institution that he was very sure of his place in. I think very early in the arc, my goal was to kind of have Lucan experience, okay, he had this time in Charnwick where he saw things that made him really uncomfortable and made him start asking questions, but now he's back home. So he's on his home turf and is comfortable and is just going to kick back and drink with the Archon. You know, like he and his best friend, the Pope, are just going to hang out for a little while. And, you know, I think through this arc, we really pushed Lucan away from that place of comfort and made him continue to confront things he couldn't ignore, even though he's back home. And where that leaves him now is with a lot of questions about Baz's place in the world, the Church of Baz's role as an institution, but also pretty sure that this Isarn guy has got to go. So, you know, he still has, I'll say, like a North Star goal of Custodia Sanguis, bad. Isarn, part of that, we got to deal with him. And that gives him something concrete to be working towards, even though he has all these questions about the church itself, the institution, where the Council of Faith plays into, you know, a society moving forward. And like, what do you do about Asher? Like, that is all there. These are all these things that are causing him like inner conflict that he's going to have to figure out, but he still has a reason to be acting and not just like paralyzed by those questions, not be paralyzed by those questions.
Yeah. It was also that whole thing did a nice job, really subtly, like not over the head, but of setting up sort of the fickle nature of like the relationship between gods and people in Sariel, of this sort of like Lucan starts doubting even just a little, and all of a sudden, like mechanically, starts losing resources that were gifted to him as a believer, and so just starting to like see the cracks a little bit in some of that. It was really interesting.
For you, Nick, and Harry, I think it's interesting that there's this, chronologically, they're not far away from each other at the moment when you kind of reach across the aisle and attempt to shake Isarn's hand of like, hey, we have things in common, to, no, this guy is public enemy number one. He has like crossed a line. You are, how is that, and where is Harry in arc 2, and where does he find himself?
I think like Steve said, we get back home, like even just starting in the first episode of this arc, you get like all the sights and sounds of Rosanium City and like the comfort zone. I would say like we all start this arc in our like literally at home, and so you see, you know, Harry like really comfortable in the halls of the Senate, to the point like I loved playing Senator Constantine's not ready, so Harry leaves the office and goes and chats with someone in like the hallway. It's like a really fun, like, oh, this is Harry's bread and butter, like this is where he lives. And so like sort of going through that trajectory, that's a really good call out of how quickly that turn against Custodia Sanguis happened, because like Harry is at home and his goal is for the Senate to gain power. Like he doesn't love how the split is between the Council of Faith and the Senate. He thinks the Senate's more representative. He says it in his speech or in his like interview and everything else. Like he's angling at every possible thing. That's Harry's big goal. And so when Isarn and the Custodia Sanguis aligns with it, like that's a very sincere moment in the warehouse that Harry's like, okay, we align on something. I don't know like how much we align on, like this Venn diagram certainly isn't a circle, like, but there is some overlap here. And so that's, I think, like you're truly seeing Harry comfortable and working that angle and working his own personal and like big picture goals up until that point in the story. And then that's the turn where all of a sudden Harry's interested in the bigger story and is no longer like using, because I don't know what the story becomes if they start working together with Exodius Anguis, because there's overlap. Like, but once he becomes evil, fuck that guy.
You say that, and yet there's a moment in that same interaction when you kind of throw out the dagger of DL Roulat at Isard that had me as the DM like seeing stars. Like I was so like thrown off by that massive swing that I was like, I need to take a minute because I don't know how big of guns I need to like pull out here, because Isarn, that is a huge, he did not know that you knew that. And he needs to keep that a secret. And so like my heart was racing. I think many of us at that moment, our heart started racing.
As the editor, I don't leave a lot of like table talky stuff in, because like I want it to be about the story or whatever. But that moment in the room, everyone was just like, "Oh no, this story's changed." No, everything's
for sure.
What the fuck?
I told Christina
Take that one back.
I told Christina when I was editing this too, I was reminded I was up to like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was so jacked after doing that, because I think we broke shortly after, because it was just like, shit, everything just exploded. But like, no, that's as soon as like, and sometimes you can't really tell. Justin had a look when he said, "I'll get in touch with Beanie." Like, so you can't necessarily, obviously, like the listener doesn't see the shit-faced, like mildly threatening way that Justin said that. And so I intentionally, as the editor, then like put like a scary sound behind Isarn saying that.
You don't need to see Justin's face to know he's being a little shithead and threatening.
And so that was the point where I was just like, okay, we have this. Like, I know that he's magically inert. I know there was a magically inert person. I know, like, I've got these cards. And as soon as he sort of, like, threatened Beanie, I was just like, oh, if you're going to be an evil fuck, I guess maybe not. Like, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, that was fun. That was a really fun moment. Oof.
Yeah, and you making that decision to escalate it really, like, it put Justin back on his heels a little bit, because Justin, you had escalated by bringing Beanie, all of our favorite. Like, I think all 3 of us, our humans, not necessarily our character, well, our characters too, would die for Beanie. And so as soon as you threaten him, like,
gloves are off, man.
This is no longer a collaborative storytelling environment. We are mad at you.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you, Justin.
So,
having said that entire warehouse sequence was basically unplanned from the moment I decided to pick a fight, or I guess not walk away from a fight on the street. Outside of what we just talked about, were there any moments that caught you off guard or surprised you and really forced you to think on your feet in terms of how you then either spent a fear or otherwise decided to move the story along?
Outside of that one, there's an equally frustrating moment with Bastion.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Where I just get like trounced. I really thought that I was putting a mole in at a great crucial moment, and that Bastion was gonna get his way, and he doesn't.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That was a really like, because we Justin and I talked about this of just like, man, I would have gone, but not without any escape route. And there's like no way Bastion would let you have an escape 100%. Route. And he's going to do everything in his power to, he kind of revealed his cards by being there. But I think this, like, it all kind of ends in a good spot for the story. But I think had you asked me, where do you want this to go at the beginning, it would not have been there in any way, shape, or form.
And do you think that the Daggerheart system contributed to how all of that played out? Because one of the things I think, off mic we've talked about with Daggerheart is just the way the magic system kind of just lets you do stuff. instead of, like the D&D system where you're relying a lot more on checks or saving throws or things, did you feel like you maybe lost a little bit of control of that encounter because of what Daggerheart lets player characters, frankly, get away with?
Yeah, I think in general, at least at the time of the recording for Arc 2,
Yeah.
I was not homebrewing characters, or I was not homebrewing adversaries
Interesting.
quite
Okay.
yet at the level that I will be in Arc 3, where I'm much more capable at it and much more prepared for it. And so, like, Hold a Person is not in Daggerheart. It's just not.
Yep.
But the concept is, and Sariel in general has space for D&D. And so, like, Magic Missile is not specifically, I don't think, a spell in Daggerheart either, but like Sariel has space for Dungeons and Dragons, and so Magic Missile exists as a concept. And so with that being said, I think it does feel like, in comparison to upper level tier 2 characters, adversaries at tier 2 have less at their disposal.
Interesting.
Because in that moment, Bastion, who was a tier 2 war wizard, was just getting trounced by a slippery little hairy pinch.
Well, and like,
who, if he doesn't want to do something, doesn't have to do anything. Now, I wonder if it
Boy,
came to
that's
like a
a hairy
brawl. Like, if it came to a brawl, I bet he would win.
Absolutely.
That's why Harry doesn't pick those fights.
Well,
right.
And that's like, again, I think Justin and I talked about this because, like, I think this was one of those moments where we've yet to like need to re-record something because it felt bad. Like, there was an honest conversation peek behind the curtain of like, that didn't go how we thought it was gonna go. Like, how do we feel about it? Because there was like I think I'm remembering that, like, that was the morning after Harry, I mean, maybe would have gotten killed by Ishar and his fucking lackeys in the warehouse had Arcane Door not saved his fucking dick. Like,
Yeah.
And so, like, that is like, it's one of those things where, like, he's got 3 tricks in his fucking bag, and they're not fighting.
Yeah.
He's not a brave man. He's gonna dip as soon as he can.
Yep.
But no, that was like, it was a funny moment because, like, I also failed, I think, 2 rolls. Like, I got invisible, but I did not get Arcane Door, and so just like I was just kind of scampering away, terrified. You know what I mean? Because it did have the effect of scaring the shit out of Harry. Like, we got to the point where he's like, the first thing I do is call Lucan for fucking bodyguards for my mom. You know what I mean? Like, that is the first thing. So it maybe didn't have the exact desired effect, but it certainly moved Harry's ass. And really set the clock for, we have to do something now. Like, there's shit happening.
What a great introduction for Harry's mom.
Yeah.
We love Tallulah.
Probably my second favorite. I loved getting to reprise Asher a little bit in Arc 2. He's changed a lot since we've seen him in Arc 1. I think the scene where he is interacting with Harry in the office, I laughed out loud re-listening to it. I think playing it, Asher is a very different person now. Yep. He is a lot more self-confident. He feels more in touch with his past lives. Obviously, we know that for whatever reason, that connection is false. But, he's thrown his weight around, which is very different than the unsure person that we saw in Arc 2 in the flashback. He's thrown his weight around. He's saying, no, this is my office. I deserve a really nice office that I visit twice a year. This is mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that was the point. I think that was the first time any of us had the opportunity to like do a mechanical check to just even like get any sense of anything. It was a decent roll, I think. It was like 18 or 19 or something like that. So that was definitely a moment for Harry of like, okay, I guess this is happening. I guess we have to deal with this now. Shit. Yeah. But back to Tallulah, second favorite NPC, I think.
Second favorite NPC, like she is warm. Venethar University, the Arcane of Arts, will be a reoccurring theme in, this season and future seasons, and is this bastion of learning. The access for magic in Sariel is a relatively new thing in the last, 1,000 so years. And so I love this concept of wizards actually studying magic. And so what she is doing is like, if only so many people can cast suggestion, you can't just like suggest everyone to do something. She's like, what is the minimum number of suggestions we can cast to like manipulate a mass group of rats? Like, what is the minimum number of suggestions I need to cast to like manipulate a group of people? That's like her current group of study.
Yeah, it's the tipping point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's what her focus is. It's not like, how do we cast fireball to the maximum effect? It's like, how can I, in enchantment, which is her school of magic, like, how can we manipulate the most amount of people with the least amount of effort?
That's wild.
And I love that concept for like a school of wizardry.
Yeah. I also loved, I'm just finishing up the scoring for the last of these episodes, but it's super fun to see Harry and Tallulah's relationship, where it starts as a bit. Harry comes in and yells like she's on trial basically for the treatment of rats. Like, it's just this very playful, like clearly a very loving and silly family. Breakneck to the last episode, where it's, can I cast Tell No Lies because I actually don't trust anyone and I need to prove that you don't know anything about any of this. And like all of a sudden it becomes like a complete, like a much more like mother-son relationship of like, oh, here's trauma, here's some stuff that's happening. This is a problem, which is really a really fun dichotomy to kind of, I think the first time we meet Tulu is like the second episode of Arc 2, so it is a nice little bookend of like mirrored scene. It's very cool.
It was a nice moment too, you asking consent to cast Tell No Lies, which just like kind of opens just like another layer to like the magic world and like that idea of consent in magic use.
And a spell that you probably learned from
her.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like enchantment magic, I think in particular, I have spent a lot of time thinking about like, man, if we had that, like how she references like the code of ethics that is responsible, and she's like, I would never use that on my husband, but man, does even the idea of being able to use it not bother him, like that really irks me. The idea that its existence is out there is like borderline problematic, and the code of ethics that she has to follow, it's a scary school of magic for sure.
Sarah also went on a date.
Yeah.
Justin loves a lesbian love affair.
I did not choose this.
I did pursue the fact that it was a date. That was on me.
Yeah.
It worked out though. It was juicy.
It was.
Yeah, what was so you say, Justin, you didn't have that as an intention, but
no.
Was like Imogen meant to be someone that Sarah was should get close to theoretically though?
Yes. I wanted Imogen to be someone that she would get close to. I gave her the Dahan early in my like conception of Imogen, but did not kind of define what the relationship would be for her. I had originally had conceptions of like, well, maybe she will be more of like who Vivian becomes, of like the more mentor, and go that route. Or, I wanted kind of to let Shelby decide what that relationship would look like. Yeah.
I think Sarah's just like a little flirt.
Yeah.
She's a little flirt. She was flirting in Arc 1 during the party.
Yeah.
She's just a little flirt. And that just goes back to her just desperate need for companionship.
And someone to trust, which I think you got. It was really cool to see you with the soup kitchen. The soup kitchen becomes like a really big center of Arc 2. But actually, I would just love to hear both Justin and Shelby talk about just kind of like how that felt on either side, because obviously, Justin, you must have had that in mind a little, but like for Sarah, that felt, at least as a listener, very much like the thing Sarah's been looking for.
Yeah, definitely. I picked that up immediately. Justin, how'd you design that?
Yeah, so leading up to kind of the creation of this whole season, I kind of spent a lot of time thinking about and talking with people who are involved in politics and kind of doing my own research into that space, and kind of just talking with people and asking questions about like, what is power and how do we relate to it? And, you know, obviously we have people like Asher who have positional power and are given that space, and then people who have power and then kind of decentralize that and will intentionally kind of attend these community meetings, and then they might be the person who are the head of the organization but not be the one at the front of the room, which is kind of the whole sender growler situation that Isarn kind of creates, and how important that is for community organizing. And that kind of started creating the soup kitchen in my mind of this place where people in the commons are creating change, are creating structures in Rosinium City that aren't about collecting power, but kind of decentralized centers of power that create change in the city, which would then, of course, attract the cult of metamorphosis really, really quickly and might be abused that in that sense. But, oh my goodness. That I think was the initial origin for that kind of thought.
Yeah, and I think from Sarah's point of view too, she is really enticed by that idea of change. And like the first time she meets Isarn in that task force meeting, like he gives her special attention and she's like, maybe this guy isn't that crazy. Of course, she does find him crazy later because he tries to kill a bunch of people. So yeah, I think
that will do it.
That'll do it. But yeah, I think for Sarah, it's this idea of like, okay, I want change. That's not the way to get it. And the soup kitchen offers this like outlet of like creating change for good in a way that doesn't feel manipulative, you know? And like especially after the warehouse gets raided and all the, you know, they're helping everybody. They're helping the guards as well as the protester, like, or the cult people. Like they're just helping anybody.
Yeah.
Which I think will continue to propel Sarah on this like idea. Her whole question is like, whose side are you on, kind of thing. And yeah, that'll get resolved. Or does it? Not really.
Yeah, I think it is. And the like soup kitchen part of it, like the food, like I just always associate like food and like centers of food as gathering places, and Ota, the goddess of like the herd thing community, is a part of that as well. And so I think it kind of naturally formed as a space for me in my head as the space, as the spot where these people would be most drawn to. And the place that others who would be looking for the insurgents would be least likely to look, because that is not how they understand power to be.
I think that's a really good point of, especially Church of Baz, like Archon Felix, there is no world where that is drawing, you know, that part of town even is drawing his attention, because anybody who is worth finding is going to be hanging around like the circles he hangs around, right? Like he just doesn't have that conception that, you know, power could be built anywhere else outside of the institutions that are already in power, right?
I mean, he basically says that.
Yeah.
It's like the third scene of this arc when you and him are in the
Yeah,
office.
right,
He's so
Yeah.
confused about the concept of, what do you mean there's no figurehead?
Right.
Yeah.
There's no leader. And
Yeah.
almost took that as, you just haven't found the leader.
Yeah.
You can't be telling me that there isn't one.
Yeah. That was actually a very fun scene in general, because it went from so silly to so very serious of Lucan getting his ass chewed out a little bit. And yeah, getting spooky, scary, sound of waves in his voice, arc on Felix.
That was cool.
Only, I don't know, 2.5 minutes after the slurping of horchata.
So, going into arc 2, I finally get to, like, I think at this point, by the end of it, get to release all of the possible secrets that I've held throughout this entire thing. So at the end of arc 1 was the secret that, like, the Asher was not the real king. By the end of arc 2, I can finally release the secret that Isarn is magically inert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a terrible secret to hold, because I'm constantly in my head being like, is there anything in the scene that Isarn is in that would impact him magically that I have to be aware of? So that I think at one point when we were recording, I like stopped you, Nick, and I was like, hey, did I mention how Isarn got to Resinium City? Did I like say that they teleported him at all? Or did like he walk? And you were like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, like when you record, could you like follow up with me on that? And you were like, yeah, I guess. And I was like, cool, thanks. It'll matter, I promise. So that was like super, like good, like relief off of my shoulders. And then the other was just like this drive that the Custodia Sanguis has of like making a factory farm of like sorcerers and kings. Because this is the like driving force behind the ultimate like kind of question of this campaign, this first season of Theater of the Mindset is like, logistically speaking, if you can make magic a like bloodline thing and you could get some type of control over that, how do you not turn that into a weapon? How does someone not desire to turn that into a weapon? And that I think will be a larger plot line, through line, if you will, of many seasons of, or I hope to be many seasons of Theater of the Mindset, is kind of what to do these Arcanoclave, the people who kind of democratize magic, these sorcerers, kind of what have their lives become. But that the Custodia Sanguis saying like, hey, we've kind of cracked the genetic code and turned the incarnate soul into a factory farm of people who are innately capable of magic. Mwahaha, aren't we geniuses? Felt like a relief off of my shoulders for you to kind of have sussed out and kind of perplexed. On your side, when you kind of hear that as both players and characters, what did that kind of enemy motive feel like?
In some ways, I think I might struggle to land this plane, but in some ways it felt like phenomena we just kind of see in, I don't know, human Earth that the four of us live in, where,
Yeah.
this power or technology or, energy that exists naturally in the world eventually is harnessed and like ruthlessly efficiencyed. I don't know if efficiency can be used as a verb, but we're rolling. And it loses some of the magic to it when we get to the point of, okay, we have refined this and turned it into something like predictable and engineered it to death. So for me playing it very much tracked that there's this like shadowy entity out in Sariel that has the same worldview and the same aims, just in a fantasy setting.
Definitely what I was going for.
Congrats.
I don't know. I feel like I think what it does is just proves that we can't like pussyfoot around. You know, like if they've got this giant weapon, like they're gonna use it, even though we don't know what it is, like the potential of it. And then you also have this abundance of faith that has gone missing now, right? So, you know, there's just all, like you were talking about, like all this power, and we have information that nobody else has. I don't know. And you can tell Sarah by the end of this arc is just like, we need to do something right now. I need to tell Asher right now. She's freaking the fuck out because the question is like, okay, do what?
Yeah.
What's your plan, genius?
Yeah, I love that urgency from Sarah of like, we need to tell Asher, or we need to act on this now, because well, it's very in character, but it also makes everybody ask, like, to what end?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, let's do that. We go tell Asher now. I guess we're all arrested. Like, if we just walk in and start like, but that need is so real and true that like we can't just sit on this forever, or it's going to like wash us away, right?
Mm-hmm.
That also reflects Sarah's moment in that. Also reflects your whole, like, the whole story of Sarah of needing someone to trust. That comes immediately after. Maybe I think this is true. Immediately after you finding out that Imogen, like you trust a person, immediately lose that trust, and are like, "Fuck it, I trust Asher." Like there's like a like a desperation in those like that 10 minutes of recording of like, okay, well this one's gone, so I have to do something. Like surely Asher's, you know, is who I think he is, and we have to, you know, do this.
And
which is very cool.
Challenged that, and you were like, okay, but what if he is in on it? And there is a part that Sarah goes, well, if he's in on it, then I just don't know. If I can't trust Asher, then I'm just floating in the abyss.
Yeah, I think that's how I felt exiting this arc, which was like same as the first one of just like, great, we sure did drink from a fire hose, and we still don't know what people want. Like, great, we have this another set of like, okay, they're doing a factory farm. Okay, there's faith stolen. There's a nuke, basically, like, there's a big weapon coming, and what do they want? Like, how do you stop someone when you actually don't? How do you stop someone when you actually don't technically know what they're actually after? You know what the means they're taking to get to whatever they want, and you know that they've partially succeeded, but like, to what end?
Partially succeeded and are way ahead of us.
Yep.
You know, like,
yes.
like, we just got to the we got to stop this. Whatever this is, we can't let it happen.
Yep. And we have no idea how many people are in on it.
Which
right?
is, you know,
there's
like
5 of us in a room, going like, could be literally anyone at this point.
But this was a huge shift throughout the arc, where, you know, we talked about it with Harry earlier. But I think on some level, all of us entered this arc with a, maybe this, you know, cult of metamorphosis, or maybe what we'll call like our antagonists, have a point, and we should try and meet them halfway, or, you know, like, not immediate. Like, I don't think everyone's first reaction was, we got to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
And we got to that point of, even though we're still in the dark on a lot, we know enough to know it's unacceptable, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, the means don't justify the end. Yeah, absolutely.
To close us out, I have a little game that I'm calling Spelling Bee. It's what everyone calls everything. It's fantasy. So obviously there are like so many words and terms that we have used, but nothing is canon until we decide in this moment. So I've got some names and some terms that we have used in Arc 2 specifically, and I'm going to say these things. Everyone can then take a stab at how we think it's spelled. We can then vote on what we think is the best canon spelling, and then that becomes the canon spelling.
Oh, great.
My as the DM, my spelling is not necessarily the canon spelling, just because I did make up the term or the name. It is the vote that matters the most. Make sense?
100%.
We'll start with Iracinda, and I'll start with my spelling of Iracinda, the goddess of motherhood, the sun, and truth. Iracinda is spelled Iracinda. Iscenda. Iracinda.
That's accurate. That's a true spelling.
I would say that E is an I though.
Yeah, I'm with Shelby. I have the E at the very end. I have it Iriscinda.
Yeah.
Iracinda. Can you use it in a sentence?
Correct.
I also think if we were actually, playing in a fantasy world, it would be Yriscinda.
Oh, no.
Okay, well that's definitely not right.
I don't know. I think it's been suggested. I think we have it's in the
It's
in the pool.
been suggested.
Or
It can be the Jill Stein of this spelling.
Yeah,
but,
or I'd like to just do one more. EERISC.
Absolutely not. Too far.
ENTA.
Well, Shelby, you then are the deciders, unless you have your own spelling option.
The one that Steve said earlier, Iriscinda.
Yeah. So that's 2-2. How do we break it 2-2?
No, I think I'll go with that. I think I'll just have to change it in all the podcast chapters. But.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah. So how much weight are we putting on making Nick do a bunch of extra work?
I'm not going back, but I will start using the correct ones from here on out. Yeah.
Do you need us to be writing these down for you?
I'm writing them down. This one's extremely important to me specifically.
Yeah.
Asher. Asher spelled ASHUR.
Dumb.
So, before I agree with Nick and say dumb, it is pronounced the way I would pronounce the name Asher, like that you just I know children named Asher in America. Like it was pronounced the same way, but we're doing some fantasy spelling nonsense. That's what's happening here.
I'd like to submit a fantasy spelling. AXZ''ER.
Oh.
I know
my reasoning is because I base them off of like old Hebrew
right.
names.
Yeah. But
And
you're
so
not spelling it the Hebrew way.
I am.
I'm pretty sure in the Bible it's ER, my dude.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's like I have this degree for nothing. No.
Yeah, it's only just seems like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But
that's the Assyrian spelling. Dang it.
Ground rule, I'm not allowed to pull out my phone to prove that I'm right about this. But I'm pretty sure it's ASHER in that's the way like God spelled it.
Yeah.
So if you want to go against God,
the AX''ER is the way I don't know, like Satan spelled it.
Absolutely.
That's not, what is the opposite of God?
I think you're right. Yeah.
But here's the thing: as the like small variants into fantasy spelling things, I actually don't mind the ASHUR. I think that's a fun variation.
I think
I'm fine with that.
That's how I picture it in my head.
I also know it means so much to you, Justin.
It does.
Sure.
I have two more. One is less controversial than the other. Baaz. Anyone else want to take a stab at how to spell Baaz?
See, this is where as his
Steve should have to spell first.
As his sub pope. What's a sub pope?
An archon.
No, I thought the archon was the pope.
The conclave.
The prelate. As a prelate of Baaz.
Yeah, the prelate.
That is Baaz for me is where the apostrophe has come into play, and I think it is BA''AZ.
Yes.
That's how I've been.
Yeah,
That is
that's how I've been
correct.
spelling
I think
it.
it's accurate.
Yeah.
Apologies to listeners who sometimes I'm lazy and I don't put the apostrophe in.
Yeah, it's definitely that's how it's spelled in all of my
The letters
literature
are the
is
same,
BAF. Yeah.
The no apostrophe is the Charnwick spelling.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And then the name I made up on the spot that we then butcher several times over and is the onus for this game is DL Roulat.
Oh God.
God.
Okay, and this is a first and last name.
I think I have it.
Yes.
I think I have it on a pad of paper from our actual sessions.
Good. I also am going to pull it up from our actual sessions.
I have it in a group in one of our group texts, but I'm not going to be looking at that because.
Okay, I don't have any notes, so I'm going off the cuff here.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's DL Roulat. So
Yes.
DIEL and then Loullatte.
Whoa.
I love the last name. I think you got the last name.
Yeah,
For me,
the last name is 100% right in my book.
for me,
What?
the first name, instead of ending EL, I think it should end ELLE.
Yes, Steve and I are 100% on the same
yeah.
page.
I have DIEL on my notes. RULOTTE.
Oh,
So you just spelled roulette wrong?
Yeah. I just assumed that was Justin's misspelling.
no, I have DIELLEL. Wait, DIELLE, and then ROULLATTE.
Oh, hell yeah, I
roulette.
was right.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's
Yep.
correct.
I think you could
yeah.
DIYALL with an apostrophe between the two L's.
Y'all.
Between the two L's.
Y'all roulette.
Hey, y'all,
I did
I'm
have-
the y'all roulette.
I did in my original spelling of Amanette. I had AHMANETTE, and then I just dropped the H eventually in my
Yeah.
notes. I was like, "What is this extra H that I'm
I-
throwing in?"
I
there?
spelled that with
has
an
a
O.
U. I spell it AU.
Oh, I spelled it.
Oh, AU is unhinged.
I spelled it like omen at OMENETT. I'm pretty sure the first episode
interesting.
has it as
See,
omenette.
I had it with the AH. I thought the H was an important part of the name.
Oh yeah, I have AH because I Amanette.
Mine's more like Amanette.
I just want to say
Omanette.
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 Isn't Omanette a Pokemon? Omanite. Omanite, I think is.
Omanite? Yeah. Well, this has been a great episode of Spelling Bee and Sariel. Thank you so much for playing.
Favorite moments? Buds and roses, roses and buds.
Oh, my favorite moment was actually terrifying in the moment was when I'm trying to mass calm people with Amanette and she asks for blood and I can't give her blood and I suggest fire and then all of the fire goes out and I was not expecting that and I was like, oh fuck, oh no. But it was so cool in the moment.
I have a number of favorite moments for Lucan throughout this, but I really felt like it was effective when he got knocked out post warehouse. I think,
especially after you fucking one punched a dude the
Right.
previous episode. Yeah.
and throughout at that point the first arc in 2/3, Lucan had not failed any, let's say, physical challenges,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
what I kind of saw Lucan's place in the party was the one who can handle his shit when there's a physical confrontation that needs to happen. And so, I know in that scene, I think he only took 1 or 2 damage, but then was we played it out as there's a head wound that's bleeding. But I think that was really effective for the storytelling to have it not just be yep, you are at 12 out of 13 HP or whatever my HP was, and that's basically meaningless. I think having that be an actual failure at the thing Lucan is supposed to be good at doing while he's in the midst of questioning the source of a lot of his power, I felt like that came through really well and was really fun to force Lucan, for me to play Lucan forced in that situation where all his tools are failing him and and even if they aren't going to be good for solving the problem he has to deal with at that time.
Yep. Rose to Shelby and Sarah for after really running with and going letting the vision of the future of Venethar affect your character pretty deeply and profoundly. That was a very cool, and then also a rose for Justin for that whole scene is really fun to edit and score and stuff. But that was a very cool rose / bud going forward. And then a bud for the complicated relationship for the soup kitchen for Sarah going forward now that Imogen has outed her, or at least Sarah knows. Bud for Lucan being on house arrest which is just a really
Yeah.
fun, and him being like, no, I'm not fucking going back, like, which is again like another step away from the like whole Council of Faith, which is very cool. And then my favorite moment for myself is between the DL Roulette reveal and I wrote 3 stories, 3 folk tales, because Harry's dad's a folk tale person, and I got to finally I got to pull one out during the interview, which was really fun.
I changed my answer. That's my answer.
No, that was mine. No.
And so that was very, very fun. That's and like Bud to sort of how we're gonna be 5 people against the fucking potentially the world, which is very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my rose goes to the Razia Harry interview. I think going into that, I had a lot of kind of BBC goals for how that should feel.
Yeah.
And you really kind of crushed it with your kind of coming in with some facts and figures, and I think that felt really, really good. And then how smoothly it transitioned to your conversation with your nephew, I think felt that entire scene both felt like one scene and 2 back to back. It felt so smooth, and I think that really showed Harry's breadth of character in a really inspiring way. I'm so sorry. I think Lucan's character moment, the initial instinct to kind of flee and get Sarah into safety when the warehouse happened, and then when Sarah kind of goes in her own direction to kind of go back into the danger, I think felt really cool.
Absolutely.
And felt like the Baazian priest thing to do. Did it immediately backfire? In that moment, yes.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But it still felt like an awesome thing, and really aligned with kind of who Lucan is becoming it. And side roses to all of the little moments of questioning.
Yeah.
That you were doing felt really good. And yeah, I would also second the Sarah vision scene and kind of where you took that and how seamlessly it fed into the warehouse commons riot.
Yeah.
So fun.
So
love it. Level up.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
But not
very
actually.
The very last sound.
Don't we? We do, right?
We leveled up.
Yeah, we leveled up.
At the end of episode.
yeah, you
13.
did.
We leveled up before.
You're right. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
The very last
yes.
sound of episode 13 is you saying we're getting leveled up, and Steve going, "Woo!"
That's very funny.
Great job.
Take us out, Justin.
How do I take us
Oh,
out?
you did it last time.
Did I? Thanks so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram, and we have a Reddit page where you can also tune in and learn more. And yeah, thanks so much. We really appreciate everything that you've done so much.
You got it. Appreciate you listening.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, I'll just do something later. Thanks for coming backstage with us at Theater of the Mindset. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to share it with a friend, subscribe on your favorite podcatcher app, buy us a cup of coffee on Patreon, follow us on Instagram or Reddit, and stay tuned for Arc 3 of Faith and Fortune.